Hey everyone, Rita here. We are in the midst of all the prep for wave goodness. Whoop whoop. If you haven't already joined the Strategic Travel Entrepreneur Facebook group, we have started a little bit of a pre-party over there. So make sure that you're over there, and also just make sure that you're registered to be with us during Prep for Wave Week so you can join in on all the special things, because guess what? There are a couple of new items this year that I am super duper excited about. The first thing is that we are going to have a couple of giveaways, and I'm talking gift cards. I'm talking like a year subscription to different memberships. So you are not going to want to miss out on any of the goodness. You do have to be playing and interactive to win a couple of these things, but they're also juicy, and the only way to make sure that you get access to these is if you're registered for Prep for Wave Week. The other amazing thing that I'm so excited about this year is we have a virtual trade show. It's not like any other trade show. It's actually going to be available the Friday before Prep for Wave Week officially starts. So you get like a little bit of a pre-show. And these are going to be presentations from a couple of the partners for Prep for Wave Week this year. And you'll get like up to 10-ish minute videos. Either they're going to be like demos walking you through something that they do. These are also going to be like really high level business tips that are in here. So lots of different educational pieces. So just highly recommend going in there, playing around. You'll also get tons of links. There's also some people have attached like some resources like flyers or worksheets so that you can accompany whatever presentation that they have in there, but super quick, super bite size, and hopefully you do find some more resources for yourself. Also a heads up, I am talking to you, but I am here, but not here. And I say that just as a friendly reminder that earlier this week I had surgery, so I am recovering. Yes, I did pre-record this before all that started. So I am still out of office currently. So if you need help with any troubleshooting, just please be super patient with me. I will not be answering any emails. I will not be answering any messages. I may be commenting on social media just because I'm a little bit bored in recovery, but I am not working because I want to make sure that I give myself enough time to heal. So by the time Prep for Wave Week comes in a couple weeks, I am ready to go. So just a heads up, I am still out of office until the 14th of September. I think those are all the updates that I at least wanted to share with you. Now, if you're new around here, one of the things that I love to do, and that I've done it for a couple of years now, is I like to replay some of the fan favorite, or some of the top sessions that had a lot of golden nuggets. It stinks because there are 15 presentations that happen every year, and we just don't have enough time to replay all of them. So if you wanted to listen in on last year's, I'll go ahead and I'll link the playlist for you so that you have access to it. But the next 4 episodes that you're going to get are going to be recordings of Prep for Wave Week. And I say that, one, for you to preface, because we might use different dates and things like that. And also, two, if anybody has anything timely or an offer or anything, it's probably not... it may not be accessible anymore because we're a year into the future when these actually went live and aired. Also, there's still like really good, juicy tips that are laced within these episodes, especially this one that's coming up. It was so funny because last year somebody was like, I thought this was about destination weddings. Because I called this session Love and Marriage Agency Style, Travel Agency Style. And so I have to give a huge shout out to John, listener, travel advisor, who pitched this idea of doing a love and marriage, kind of like how you see on the cruise ship sometimes, but with different travel advisors at different levels in their business. So I have a newbie advisor, a mid-experienced advisor, and then someone that has about 10 years or just a little over 10 years. So you can kind of see like the different stages and what they're doing and what they're thinking about as well. So I cannot wait for you to listen in on this episode. I will come back and I'll close us out. And yeah, I'll future me says hello, but stay tuned. I will join you at the end again. So without further ado, let's welcome all of our panelists. So we have Judi Lombardi, who's our newbie, but she is kicking butt. Then we have Leah Udice, who is our mid-experienced, and she has a unique story that some of you might be aware of if you've started recently. And then Stephen Scott. Welcome to Prep for Wave Week, you three. Let's start, Judi. Tell us, how did you get into the travel industry? And what's got you most excited about your business?
So I've always been in love with travel. I'm sure everybody's story starts out similar to that. I was a speech pathologist for the last 30 years, and after COVID, it was time to follow my dream, and I just get so excited making other people's dreams come true. So I started taking the TAP, I took other classes, get my certification through the Travel Institute, and so I took off last June was when I started, and I love it.
Yeah. And the most exciting thing happening right now?
The most exciting thing is that my business took off quicker than I thought it would.
Yeah.
So it is just really, I'm actually thinking about like, okay, do I need a virtual assistant? Do I have to, bring on some more help?
Hmm.
Thank God I have two full-grown adult daughters who have been pitching in and helping me out with marketing and other
Yeah.
little things. But even that, I'm struggling getting that stuff up and running. But the most excitement is just the referrals. It's a lot of referrals and it's just keeps mushrooming. And now I got clients going all the way down the East Coast. So it's kind of exciting. I'm like, how'd you find me?
And that's a very unique part of your story too. But let's hold on to that. Leah, how did you get started and what's the most exciting thing happening?
So the first time I joined NextGen was in 2019 when I was working with my best friend at a home renovation company. We had started a travel side, and then in January of 2020, he fired me. And so I started my own NextGen
Yeah.
account. And so I decided during COVID I would pursue my passion. And I spent many years in the hospitality industry prior to working with him. So I decided COVID wasn't happening to me, it was happening for me. And I got to create my business in, I think June 1st of 2020 is my company's anniversary.
Love that. And you have been doing very well. Last but definitely not least, Stephen, well, let's not to make a long story, but I know that you have becomings in the industry before you became a travel advisor. So just like a sneak peek of that and what's the most exciting thing happening?
Sure. First of all, thanks everyone for joining me on this. This is really fun. I have been in the industry since 2004. I've had a mixture of corporate sales at United Airlines, at headquarters, then over to Royal Caribbean, where I was the strategic account manager
Mm.
for New York City. So I may know a few of you there. And then for the last 9 years, I have been an advisor, an independent contractor. We're currently underneath that Internova Global Travel Collection branch. And what we do now, we are a perfect mix of corporate and luxury leisure travel. Within that, we do weddings. We've got an online portal, and we're really excited about the new cruise platform we just launched with Travel Tech. And we just got so many awesome things happening right now. I'm really excited.
Yeah, that is amazing because I see a lot of the things that are happening within your business. Leah, did you mention what your most exciting thing is right now?
No, I forgot. I'm sorry. So I think that my groups that have kind of happened organically is that putting together my groups for 2025 and 2026. I host people that love to travel but don't necessarily have people that they're whether they're a couple and maybe they don't have friends or family that want to travel with them. And so just kind of grows with every trip that we take. More and more people kind of attach on to our groups. And so I'm about to host a large group in Southeast Asia in October. And so those are really becoming a big part of my business, which is super exciting.
Okay, that's awesome because I know a lot of people, that's kind of like the next evolution where people want to go to is leading these groups. Does anybody feel comfortable at all kind of like stating sales or maybe like 2023 sales we're at or this year's sales are on track to be just so that we can give like a lay of the land of where everybody's at, especially since we're talking sales day?
Sure. As a newbie, my first year I did around 500,000 in sales, which
Woohoo!
I'm excited for. And a lot of it was a big learning curve. So there was a few trips in there that I had like a $112 profit. So as I was learning, so I'm very excited about that. That, you know, it's I'm on the upswing.
Awesome. Awesome.
I do about 1.5 million a year.
Okay.
It's gone up slightly every year, so I'm on track to do maybe 1.75 this year. I like Judy, am trying to figure out how to weave an assistant in to help me because there's a certain ceiling that you get to that unless you have help, you can't do more.
Yeah, I was going to ask that too. Does anybody have help, whether it's a virtual assistant or hiring subcontractors for different, like maybe marketing or sales roles?
I do. So my wife is actually handling our corporate sales. I met
Okay.
her when I was working at United Airlines. So she handles the corporate and entertainment, all the DJs and musicians and groups and the sports teams. We handle the Columbus Blue Jackets, for example. And so there's just a
Wow.
24/7
Wow.
feeling like that portion of the business. So yes, she is my other half, the boss, I always say. And then I have other team members that we bring on and off quarterly, depending on projects that we're working on.
Okay.
And I think that's actually a really good thing to be able to have people that you can bring in and out, not like a short notice, but kind of on a project basis. Bring people in, get the support you need, and then you can kind of
Right.
move them back out as needed. So
Right, right. Yeah. I always like that's one of the things that I feel like when newer people are coming into the industry and maybe they don't have like the sales, they're always like wanting to hire somebody immediately. And I'm like, I think you can use like systems and automations first before like you hire on. Stephen, especially since you've hired on, like, can you give like any expertise or like some background on maybe any pitfalls of hiring that you've had?
yeah, I mean, I have such high aspirations. My background is in sales and marketing, so I always think I can take on the world, but I can't.
Yeah.
And so it's a matter of, and on top of that, business on the leisure side is a roller coaster. You know, you'll make this big booking, but you don't get paid for a long time. So understanding how to be able to hire someone and maintain and sustain their cost for an extended period of time was problematic for me in when I first started doing it. And it was probably year two. I was like, oh, I need people. But in reality, I needed to work harder and
Mm,
also smarter and figure out what types of clients are taking up the majority of my time compared to the amount of money they're generating. All these things have to be factored in. And sometimes you don't learn it until you speak to someone at a conference who's doing it already, or you
right.
don't learn it until you make a mistake and you bring on somebody and you find out third quarter, you don't have any revenue coming in. And that's how you're supposed to handle that, right? So
Right.
yes, so much to say. And I've had that conversation with a number of new advisors before. And I love having that conversation.
Right, because that also makes me start to think about what is like the biggest pain point that you're experiencing. I would like each of you to kind of at the different levels that you're at, just share like what's the biggest thing that's going on because I know it's going to be very different for each different level. So, Leah, what would you say is the biggest like thorn in your side right now?
Um, oh gosh. It's figuring out as I try and create task lists, and I do outsource some things where you can, pay a virtual assistant to do this or have a social media package from someplace. But it's trying to figure out the balance of what my special sauce is for my clients
Okay.
and what I'm willing to give up and not be a control freak about it. Like
Mhm.
what's truly what my clients need from me and how I created my brand. And I think because I'm a business owner for the first time, and I have a lot of uh, ideas and vision about what I want my brand to represent. So, how do I train somebody to represent me in that way? But I'm supposed to be hiring people to save me time, but training them properly also takes time.
Right.
So, it's I think that's the part that has me having a hard time ripping off the band-aid.
Okay. I love that you mentioned that it's not only like hiring somebody, but hiring somebody to like a certain set of standards. Are you contemplating too, like between an independent contractor versus employee, or you
I
kind of like
think
decided?
I think I'll probably start independent contractor
Okay.
in hopes that they could become an employee.
Okay.
And with part-time, I think that, everything needs to be a trial basis, just to see if we're a fit for each other. And I think that that's probably the most comfortable way for me to dip my feet in.
Okay. And then Judy, what's your biggest thorn in your side right now?
I've got a few thoughts right now going in my head from what Leah and Stephen just said. So I totally agree about working smarter. That's one of my things I'm trying to figure out right now. And I am a little bit of a control freak, and my special sauce is my customer service. It's my hands-on in the detail and understanding them. Um, but my biggest struggle is really finding the time to really put in a good, workflow, a good standard operating procedure. I mean,
Hmm.
I'm just a year into it and I have it. And of course, when you first start, and I think I've said this to other newbies, you have this vision in your head of how you think it's going to go and you plan it all out. But then all of a sudden your business morphs into something different and the clients that you're getting is doesn't fit that protocol. So now
Hmm.
you're like, okay, I got to go in and fix that. And then you realize too that you start out and how much your personality plays in. So I'm going in and tweaking all my email templates. I'm like, I don't talk like that. This is how I talk, and that's what they expect. So, you
Right.
know, so now it's like I have this to-do list of things that I want to do extra. I haven't even gotten to it. I haven't even, and it's my workflows. I have it, but now I'm constantly having to tweak it. So now I'm not working smarter anymore. So, and I can't afford anybody except free labor. So all I did was teach my husband how to like put things in Travify. And I said, just put them in. I'll go in and tweak it. If he's busy, if I'm working late, I'm like, okay, can you help me here? But yeah, so that's my biggest thorn is just finding the time to organize myself so that I have a jumping off point
Hmm.
uh, to tweak the rest of the stuff as the business grows.
Hmm. I think you bring up like a common misconception in terms of like templates, because there's some really amazing templates out there, but you have to find the ones that are not only like really great, but also speak the language that you speak. Because I know like some might only focus like on sun and fun or informal or casual, and you might be dealing maybe not with a totally upscale client, but more a mid-level premium,
Yeah.
and it doesn't match that. So is that a really good investment? So
And
yeah,
then throw in
that's
technology on top of it. If you're
right.
somebody, I mean, this is a second career for me. So I'm still, I mean, I have MailerLite, and I have an email list, but I haven't done anything with it. So
Hmm.
so
And
I have all those little pieces of the puzzle that have to fit in before I can even think about the next level.
yeah, because you originally started still working your full-time job and then quickly were like, I need to put my resignation in because I can't handle the two at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Okay.
3 months early.
Okay. And then Stephen, what's currently your biggest thorn in your side?
Well, I create my own thorns.
Don't we
So,
all?
yeah, so I'm on the spectrum of very highly technical with how we handle our marketing. And so we are reaching customers that are all over the world. And
Mhm.
so not only do we have our travel advisor website at Travel Hub 365, but we also have the online platform, which has just launched during the pandemic, which is Odyssey. And
Mhm.
so both of those platforms are reaching different types of customers, but
Right.
they're reaching customers all over the world. So I've created this animal that is growing, but it also creates a situation where I have to think with two different brains and then also try and keep track of all these customers that are contacting us. So I'm very global in the area, whereas I'm dealing with one customer that is based in Singapore, and then the next one's in Dallas, and then now we're talking with someone who is trying to book a Costa cruise based out of the UK. There's so many different angles that I'm working with, and my team is trying to deal with and manage because all of these customers are very different in how they approach things, very different in where they are traveling to and where they're coming from. That I don't know if the 9 years ago version of me as an advisor would have possibly handled what's happening right now.
Okay.
And we are being successful, but I also, every time I come up with a new idea, I said, oh, wow, I have to figure out what's going to happen 5 years from now if this
Very
succeeds,
true.
so.
Very true. Would you say that you are the CEO of your travel company right now, or do you have like a different role within your business?
I am the founder and CEO. And so we are operating two actual businesses. So Odyssey Travel app is its own entity, and Travel Hub 365 is its own entity. So I'm operating two businesses at the same time. One is very much automated, and
Okay.
the other is a luxury travel agency, just like all of us are operating. So yes, there's two things happening at the same time. So you have to be able to figure out how to manage your CRM, manage those customers. You don't want to lose anybody. You don't want to have all of this work done and then you forget about them for 3 months.
Hmm.
So there's a lot happening. So you really have to truly automate and continue to learn how to manage your customer base and how it is right now and how you want it to be, as opposed to how you've always done it. You have to always evolve because of the customers you interact with, the things we learn in our travels ourselves, and then
Right.
also in the trainings that we get from all of our different companies.
Would you say, as the CEO, are you still doing like one-on-one travel planning with clients, or is that now evolved to like a team member or sales position?
So I handle the initial setup, the initial conversations,
Okay.
the onboarding of those types of clients, but then I have team members that go get that rate for me, or I can be able to
Okay.
say, okay, here's where we are, and I need you to go to FunJet, Classic Vacation, Sabre, whatever the resource is, to then come back to me, so then I can be able to understand where are we compared to the client's expectations, and then go back and have that conversation. So I try to keep it as high level as possible, but there's many times when I'm going right into the thick of it, trying to get something right because it's a high net worth clientele.
Okay. I also love that you brought tech into the conversation because I think like that's a big thing that everybody talks about. I have the Travel Tech Audio Summit every year now. So let's go back to Leah. What would you say your current tech stack is? Like, what are you using for a CRM, itinerary builder, and then maybe just any other tech that you might use every day?
I consider myself pretty low tech.
Oh,
But
okay.
I use Access for my itinerary builder,
Okay.
and I use TravelJoy for my CRM, and that's about the extent of it. At this point, I think because I'm in the luxury market, and so it's very relationship is it's my process is in very digital. I
Mhm.
know that what I would like more help with is my email marketing.
Okay.
Those groups that I'm telling you about, my client base doesn't necessarily know about them. And so that's one of the functions that I'd really like the help of someone, because I think that the smartest thing I can do is field out the things that I'm not good at and not interested in doing.
Mhm.
So that's one of my pain points and tech needs.
Yeah. Are you currently doing anything for email marketing, or is it really just word of mouth right now?
Right now it's word of mouth. I do have Flowdesk for
Okay.
email marketing, and I used to do a weekly email about destinations, but I don't think that that has a great ROI for my clientele, where
Okay.
it might be too frequent.
Okay.
But that's a think, like, I love that Stephen said we have to constantly evolve and figure out what worked before, what's working
Right.
now, what never worked. And so that's one of the things I'm trying to figure out.
Okay. So would you say how do you on the majority wise get most of your clients then or retain most of your clients? It's just
It's
keeping
definitely referral based, word of
okay.
mouth.
Okay.
They're all over the country. I can't even tell you. I have like a pocket in Nashville, a pocket in Michigan, pocket here in Raleigh, Durham. They're all over the country. So, and that's the most solid kind of client that I feel like you can get is if they've come from one of your happy clients that they're likely going to book something with you because I'm all about not taking on tire kickers and and such. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. And for reference, everybody on our panel does charge fees. We can get into that discussion a little bit later. But I also love, Leah, that you brought up that a lot of it is word of mouth, referral, and that relationship marketing. Because I feel like sometimes we get in our head, like I should be doing more social media posts or I should be sending out more emails. And I'm like, but you can also just keep it simple. And there's things to make those other factors easier too. So thank you for bringing that up. Judi, what's your current tech stack?
So I am using TravelJoy for my CRM and I am using Travify. I'm looking around. I'm not loving Travify, but I
Okay.
know how to use it.
Uh-huh.
Uh, well, see, most of my clients, I'm a premium market, I'm not luxury market, but my entire client base can be divided into two groups.
Okay.
So it's all people 50 plus.
Right.
So they just, most of their kids are done with college and their family, have a little more extra money and they have a giant bucket list. So there are a lot of them are first-time travelers or first-time international travelers who finally starting to tick off that box. So I help them make it happen. And then I have their children, so I have all their honeymoons.
Hmm.
So pretty much everything I have is falling into those. But the honeymoon clients, they're happy with tech. My 50 plus are like, can I have a PDF? I can't read that. The font's too small. So I am still, again, I need more time to kind of to figure that out. And yeah, I do have a marketing, I think I'm at Mailer Lite. I don't even know where I am, where that where my marketing is because I don't do any of it. It's all word of mouth right now. I do have free labor. I have two adult children. So one of them is my blog writer.
Nice.
So she created a blog. It's called Rolling With It, and it's all about what goes wrong on travel, but
Hmm.
how great it still is. So she writes that once a month, and then I have my other daughter who's been working on I specialize in like a couple of different areas, more experiential travel, wild wanderings, Africa, Europe, immersive things like that, more so than like sun and fun. And so she does like my wild wandering. So just more educational. It's the teacher in me,
Yeah.
that kind of pops in and out. But yeah, I'm really looking for simplification and I don't know. I'll have to check out Access and I keep my eye on Turn. But
Yeah.
I need a program with a group base.
Yes. I mean, Turn has some pretty fun features coming up for groups, so
Yeah.
that may be on your eye coming up soon. Stephen, what is on your tech stack? And I would also like to know too, not just CRM or itinerary builder, but I think at your level too, thinking about like commission tracking or financials on the back end with having a team.
Sure. So the simplest, well, actually, first, I want to say, Leah, Judy, you guys are fantastic. Honestly, when you talk to any of the $5 to $10 million producers, they say the same thing you're saying. So you're completely on the right track. At some point in time, you don't want to spend a dime on marketing
Hmm.
because you've got so many referrals coming in that, and the referrals are coming in the right way at the right time. So great job. Sorry, Rita.
No, that was
Um,
Thank you.
great.
yeah,
Thanks.
so
I'll take the
yeah,
encouragement.
so we use a mixture of TravelJoy for our leisure side and then Salesforce and Airtable. Airtable is not what you would think of as just a travel CRM, but it allows me to do some different things with our websites. And so I hired a AWS expert just to do
Okay.
a small project, and they connected our tables into our website so that when certain things change on the website, it adapts and updates the customer profile. If the customer does some things that we added in there, it'll adjust some things that they see if they log into our website. So,
And that's through Airtable?
Rita, if you were one, we have Airtable APIs connected in.
Wow.
As well as the big one. I wasn't going to get into it. It's a little too advanced, but it's called customer.io.
Okay.
Customer.io does some pretty cool things because it actually helps us with our marketing. So as our customers do things with us on the websites, on our email marketing, it will adjust what they see and hopefully book on those different platforms, whether it's email, website, or however. So if you love Caribbean, you're on our website looking at Caribbean, your emails will start to adjust
That's
what you
cool.
see according to the things you look at. And so, but it takes a lot of work, a lot of activity.
Right.
9 years into this, it's evolved to that point.
Hmm.
But it's just trying to do some things along the way of cultivating and really making our experience with our customers relevant to them as opposed to pushing things out that they may not want to see.
Hmm. Okay. And then I know you mentioned Salesforce. Salesforce is like a big tech. I have a friend that uses it on the university level, so it can be used across like different industries. Is Salesforce what you use for commission tracking as well?
Yes,
Okay.
so I utilize that to be able to enter in expected revenues, expected commissions, what came through in the end. We extract the data that's coming in from our a larger host agency, Global Travel Collection and
Hmm.
Intranova, and we input that in a simple attachment upload into it, and it starts to do everything it needs to do. So, one of the pain points as CEO is you say to yourself, oh, wow, we had an expectation commission rate of this for the last quarter, and it was much lower or it was
Hmm.
much higher. And so those things are important when you've got people booking things for you,
Hmm.
because you have to go back and find out why was my commission rate, $50 lower there or $100 lower there. And that can add up over time. And there's reasons for that as an advisor. And so, Salesforce is something I was trained in back at Royal Caribbean, back at United Airlines from a
Yeah.
corporate side. So I know everyone doesn't have that level of experience with it, but I just kept running with it. And I try to keep the cost low because it can be very expensive.
It can be, yeah. Leah, do you use anything for commission tracking, or is it kind of like between like Agent Mate or
I have a
Travel Joy?
spreadsheet.
Oh, that too,
Actually,
that
yeah,
too.
that's a
I'm
few.
QuickBooks.
I, I
Sorry.
have a spreadsheet. Every time I book something, I put it right in.
Okay.
I need it right then. I need to see it, and it's again low tech.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It works.
Not even lower.
It works.
I know that people are going to be very curious because we've been talking a lot about word of mouth. So, what would you say has been the best thing in terms of word of mouth marketing? Has it been a networking event? Has it been a certain networking event? So, Leah, would you say that there's been any event or encounter with somebody that's like changed the trajectory of your business?
I don't think I have a traditional answer here. I think
Okay.
that my kind of motto is to do the hard work on the front end of things. So I spent a lot of time vetting what partners I used to for my clients. And
Mm-hmm.
so really having amazing experiences for my clients, like it's truly been that like, having 5 couples book a trip to Italy, and then that was wildfire, like, oh, this trip was so great. So it's really been my word of mouth, the experiences that they've had, and then they posted on social media, and everyone wants to know who they used. And
Okay.
so I think because I was so fussy about who I will and won't, I want whoever I use to give the same level of care
Mhm.
that I give booking it. And that's sometimes difficult. I don't want my clients to have to call a 1-800 number. I want them to get a person. And
Mhm.
so that's kind of been one of my hard lines on what I offer to my clients so that they don't have to worry about anything.
Okay. And I know Judi, I think you have what I would term as like a super referrer that has kind of like helped boost your business marketing wise.
Yes, so I made an announcement on my personal Facebook page saying that I was going to retire soon and I'm launching my travel advising business. And then I got a message from a mother who said my son, um, he had a travel advisor who's ghosting him, and their honeymoon was in 2.5 months. So it just so happened my kids played a lot of different sports and stuff. And I was involved in the community. So I had quite a few networking areas professionally, personally through my kids. And this was one of them. So I knew the boy. And so I was just, and again, I firm believer of honesty. It's like if I don't know the answer, I'm not going to fake my way through it. I'm going to be honest, but I'm going to dig deep and find it for you. So he wanted to go to Vietnam. And I said, well, I can spell Vietnam. I mean, that's about it. So I said, but I do know where to look and so forth. I said, let me see what I can do. And I went to town. I just so happened to luck out and get in touch with somebody who was very good at what they did, put together an itinerary. He thought it was the greatest thing since sliced cheese. And he just started sharing I mean, he literally was texting me from his um, rehearsal dinner. My cousin's going to call you. This is her name. Take care of her. And then I laughed because she was from New York, and now her group of friends refer to her as her first name, the so and so train. And they're like, so she's been passing my name around to everybody. And like, I think right now between the two of them, I have like 7 or 8 clients just leaving in the next 2 months.
Hmm.
So then it's just grown from there. And the other thing that's helped me, like with marketing, is that I also, when I was much younger, I was a tour guide. I worked for an actual tour operator.
Hmm.
Um, and so I, have been posting pictures for all the trips I've organized and planned independently, not through anything. I just get groups of people together.
Hmm.
And so when I decided to launch, people had an immediate connection with me and travel. Like 90% of the comments were, it's about time. So, and I think that that helped a lot of people taking a chance on me. Some of the comments I've gotten from people who've reached out to me, oh yeah, we're gonna go to you because we know when you get you're like a dog with a bone, you won't quit. So that personal reputation followed me through into my business that allowed it's a tree, just keeps
Right.
sprouting off of it. So I was very fortunate and lucky and loving it still, even though I'm tired.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's kind of the trend that I'm noticing between Leah, you being very selective with who you partner. Like there's just a very high level of care. And I don't think like we necessarily talk about that, like being very mindful, especially when you are a hosted travel advisor, you have 50 plus suppliers to choose who to do business with. And I remember like a couple years ago hearing like instead of be like choosing all of them, like have your own preferred suppliers, like two top premium cruise lines, two top FIT or whatnot, to really help provide that superior customer service level that you're wanting. Is there something different or similar on your end, Stephen? Something marketing wise that may have changed the trajectory of your business?
Well, I have, just like everyone else, the agency side of our business. I get big jumps when I attend a wedding or I do someone's honeymoon. Shortly after it, same thing. We start getting referrals. People start to say, "Who did it? I need to talk to them." Those same things happen. But I have been on television pretty regularly. So CGT in America is a cable news network that's broadcast
Mhm.
globally, 100 English speaking channels. I'm on there at least once a month as their travel expert for whatever topic it may be. It initially started as just cruising, but now if there's an event happening around the world that's a major, it affects global business in some way, they'll have me on. And so almost every single time that I'm on, I get a new request or lead from somewhere globally, if not multiple at the same time. So it is fantastic when they call me about a new destination to talk about. It's almost expected that you're going to get a call or a request from about that destination, Mexico City or wherever it may be. And so that has been the catalyst to make our business jump. So we're now double the amount of business we had last year. And so things like
Nice.
that have been just causing us to jump.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. That like that media coverage, I think that's another thing that doesn't get widely spoken about. I like to talk about in marketing macro content, like this big beefy like juicy piece of content, and I feel like those are really great marketing pieces where whether you can have a write up or if you can have like the visual video recording.
Yes.
Um,
And so anytime you can help as an advisor, anytime you can help throw in a word for an article like Travel Pulse, Travel Weekly, if
mhm,
they come to you, don't brush it to the side. Take a few minutes
mhm,
and answer their question. And you never know what could happen by your name being out there from an article from 6 years ago. You know,
right.
it may have been at that moment, you're like, I'm too busy. But if you think about it, in 6 years from now, someone may still find that article because of SEO, and there you are. And next thing you know, you get the call from outside of your network, and that can be helpful as well.
Did you get some of these opportunities from people within your network, or you kind of like saw them and jumped on them?
Different FAMs that occurred
Okay.
in the beginning for me. I luckily ended up meeting different people from Travel Pulse, Travel Weekly, etc. I'm actually now the co-chair. I'm one of the co-chairs for the Black Travel Advisory Board for North Star Travel Group.
Nice.
So a lot of those people I'm interacting with that were people who were just asking me for a quote here or there 7 years ago.
Mhm.
And so I value all of those different interactions because it helps things to grow for you down the road so that you can meet great people along the way. And I have met you because of
Yeah.
those interactions as well.
Yeah, yeah. I always like to say, like, always be open to whatever opportunity might be coming down the line for you. I know we're wrapping up, so kind of like some rapid fire, whoever wants to answer questions. What would you say is like your biggest sales tip to help when you are like really in a crunch mode or you haven't hit your sales goal yet, or you're trying to cover like from what you were mentioning, like from Q3 to Q4? What's your biggest tip to like get the next sale or get the next big jump? I was like, I felt like I should have had like waiting music, but then I didn't want to get copyright infringement.
So if this is from experience level, my only tip for newbies is to have a goal.
Love it.
Because sometimes we're just rolling with it and figuring it out. So to have a goal is a good tip.
Mhm.
Uh, I think also knowing your clients pretty well. Sometimes I'll have known that a client mentioned, oh, this is on our list. And if you see something that matches a client, like I've actually like said, hey, I saw this and I think of you, and like had a booking, a Regent cruise just because remembered that. And, I'm like, oh, I need to book something pretty quick. I'd like to, hit that goal. And, that really works because people like to be remembered too. And they weren't kidding. I mean, the great thing about our industry is that it's fun, right?
Right.
We're selling something that everybody enjoys doing, and they never have enough of it. There's always the new place, right? The more you travel, the more places you want to travel to. So I think really keeping those in your mind and pinging people when they're not expecting it, but you might need it.
Right. Right.
And I would just jump in. I piggyback off of that. Pick up the phone, call somebody once a day. If
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
I was the young guy at Royal Caribbean years ago when my boss said to me, she's like, "Why don't you just pick up the phone?" I'm like, "Well, I'll see them next week." And she's like, "Just call the travel
Yeah.
agency. Just see how they're doing."
Yeah.
And I could see it in her eyes. She was just looking at me like, "You young Gen X, you better." And so if I'm 44, so if you're much younger than me and you feel like picking up the phone is old school, picking up the phone is money. Think of it that
Yes.
way. It's
That's
money.
exactly right.
100%.
I'm all about the phone call. You get so much more accomplished because you
Mhm.
can hear passion, you can feel like a team. I mean, even just going up to somebody, when you call a vendor and you're like, I need we need to be miracle workers today or whatever. It just creates a spirit of teamwork
Mm-hmm.
as well. So I think that on both sides, client side and operator side, to really create what's the word, cultivate that relationship. It's all about relationships. Sometimes we need each other, and so
Right.
it's, whether it's the client or the partner.
Right. I love that you mentioned that, because especially like this past month, I'm like, the sales aren't coming from social media posts. They might be coming a little bit from email marketing, but the biggest sales have come because of personal outreach, whether I messaged somebody or like did a text or something. Like I did that contact, and that's how things happen. Last kind of rapid fire question. What has been the biggest misconception to owning a travel business that you kind of were like, oh, I didn't realize that was going to happen, being the boss of my own company, my own business?
There's so many. Uh, so I know it's quick. So I'll just tell you that I didn't expect that my thoughts as of this moment that I'd still be going. I had been moving jobs all the time within the industry, but I didn't think I'd be an advisor for 9 years. So, but the thing that I will say is that it's one, we are one big happy family. There are a couple of not happy people in there, but
Yeah.
we're one big happy family, and there's a massive pool of customers. We don't have to fight over business. We are all in this together. We can learn from each other. We can learn from experiences, learn on FAMs, learn on trainings, do things like this. Have a great time, because we're not all fighting over the same customers. There's so
Right.
many out there,
Mhm.
and you can succeed amongst others who are doing successful as well.
Mhm. I love that. Thank you for that one.
That was
That's a
perfect.
great point.
That was perfect.
Yeah, I think especially like now that we're like 2024 now, I remember when I first got in the industry in 2010, it was still very much like walls up. I don't want to spill my secrets because you're going to steal my clientele and all that. And I'm like, but that's not what happens, because there's billions of people around the world and you can't serve all the billions of people. Any other big misconceptions about owning a travel agency?
I would say I just didn't know that my brain was never going to turn on.
Oh.
I'm always working, and I love it. Like that's the thing, is like I don't mind because it's something that I'm interested in. If
Mhm.
I'm traveling, like I'm never on vacation, even if it's supposed to be, a few days away. I can't look at a hotel without wanting to know some things. I can't, so I didn't know how that was going to change how I needed to adjust the rest of my life, because
Mhm.
my brain is always on.
I was like, oh, I get that a lot. I'm taking some time off coming up soon, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna try and completely shut off, but we'll see what happens. Any final thoughts from you, Judy?
I have to just say ditto to both what they both just said. One of the things that's been really surprising to me is that camaraderie, like the communication. Coming from working in the schools, it's like you talk to maybe 10 teachers and
Mhm.
then a few parents. And I'm like, I am making friends daily. And it means some of my clients are becoming my friends, and other, advisors are becoming my friends. And I said for a home-based business where you stare at a screen most of the day, it's not lonely.
Yeah.
I thought it would be, and there's always somebody who's just a text, post, or what a way to help you answer something. So I think that was the surprising on the positive end. I was
Hmm.
surprised at how many hours I would put in a day, how many days a week.
Yeah.
So yes, but that's a negative. But I was very surprised at how much fun I'm enjoying meeting people. And like, I mean, I'm a travel advisor, and I'm like, just listening to Leah and Steven talk, I'm just like, I'd book a trip with them. Like, so it's just it's fun, and it's exciting, and it's communicative, and it's well worth all of the pain and sweat.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Huge thank you again, Leah, Stephen, Judy, for being here and sharing all your wisdom. I know we're out of time, but I'll go ahead and put like any LinkedIn links so people can connect with you on the different social media channels. But thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for having me.
We'll see you soon, everyone.
Good
Bye.
luck.
All right, future me is here. What did you think about that episode? So good, right? I feel like I should probably do it like almost like a master series or something on the podcast regularly. So if you want that, just let me know. I also wanted to shout out to one of my travel advisor friends who attended Prep for Wave Week last year. Her name is Marilyn. She works with Expedia Cruises Rosedale, and she says, thanks, Rita. Prep for Wave Week was like taking vitamin B12. I felt very energized by the end of the week, and I will go back to a couple of the modules for sure. So thank you so much for that feedback, Marilyn. And I love, it's like kind of perfect. If you are needing a boost for your business, if you're needing a B12 for your business, Prep for Wave Week is it. So make sure head on over to the link in the description so you do not miss out. Alrighty, friends, we'll see you here on next week's episode, which will actually be my session. Bye till then.